So this is part 7 of a series that I was doing regarding going from a full-time job to a full-time reselling position. And the first 6 videos I talked about how did I get there, the pros and cons, and the things I had to consider. I got a job, and what were the things I had to consider about whether or not to continue to be a full-time reseller or not to be. And I told you that decision in part 6. But this one, part 7, I wanted to talk about because there will be a time, whether or not you're full-time reselling, part-time, when I think things get a little bit unmotivating. I had to make the decision to turn back to your full-time job, and you're now maybe going back to part-time reselling, or maybe it just didn't work out, or you're a full-time reseller and you're starting to lose a little bit of that motivation, or you're a part-time seller and you lose the motivation. And I get it. There are times when I am hyped up and I wake up in the morning and I'm like, I'm going to get all this stuff done. A psychologist or anything of that nature. But if you do happen to go back to work, it's okay to go back to work. You aren't a loser. You aren't a failure or anything like that. It's just at this point in time, things are just not, the cards aren't set up for you right now. Nothing is permanent instead of death. So reselling isn't going anywhere. It's not like next year, this is it. Like if you don't get into the reselling market right now, then you're just screwed. It's not going anywhere. You can still continue to go on. If it happens, like I said, you have an idea now of what you need to do. Make a goal and then transition from a plan versus emotion, because it is emotional. You're like, gosh, I remember this one guy back after COVID first hit, and he said, he lived in California. I remember he lived in California. And he said, I told my daughter that I'm going to stay home with her and do reselling. And I was so disappointed because it's just not working. And I got a job offer, and I have to take the job because I got to have food on the table. I've got to pay the bills. And he said, but I'm so disappointed in myself. And we all said, it's perfectly fine. You got to do what you got to do. We're adults. Not all the time. The best decision to make is not always the easiest decision. And avoid the whole money isn't everything mentality. It's your mental health is better. Learn how to prioritize and work throughout your day in order to get the stuff that you need to get done. And I completely understand that we all have goals and aspirations, and sometimes those don't work out. Doesn't mean that you don't have a little turn. Sometimes it's A, B, C, D. Sometimes it's A, F, G, M, N, N, O, P, Q, R, S, D. But anyways, so I wanted to talk about sort of the things that I have been doing when I start to get a little down in the dumps, unmotivated about job, reselling, whatever the case may be. And I remember this I was watching Steve Harvey one day, so I'm not going to take this quote. And what happened was, this was after like the first 2008 crash. I can't remember all the crashes we've had. Every year we've had a crash since I can remember. And he said to people, he said, don't look for a dream job. Think about how your job can get you to your dreams. And as you go back to a job, and if you go to the first video, it's like, I hate my job, right? That's what you say. I don't want to go back to work. Or, why am I not being more successful at reselling? Why is this stuff not selling? I would probably say that most people, when you're talking about a reselling, was never your dream job. I grew up and it was never my dream job. It still isn't my dream job. I don't wake up every morning and over the moon about being a reseller, full-time or part-time. I like it. I don't plan on leaving it, but it's not my dreams. And but the jobs I've had haven't been my dreams either. They may have been a midlife crisis. I don't know. Maybe. But I encourage you to use your dreams, whatever they are, to motivate you. Whether it's to go back to work and say, I got to suck it up and do what I got to do. Or I got to get up and list this stuff that I'm so tired of looking at. And I'll tell you what my real dream is. So the first thing I want you to do is think about something that you want. that has nothing to do with reselling. Something you want. And it can be something like, I want to get out of debt. I want to maybe even take a vacation. Maybe you're like, I would love to have enough money to pay for a vacation with cash versus credit. It can be, I want a new car. It can be, I want to for like myself, I want to move. So my dream is I want to move. Where I'm at right now is okay. It's not the worst place in the world, but it's not my dream. When I bought my home, I knew it was going to be my first home. I knew it wasn't going to be my forever home. When I moved here after school, I knew I didn't want to stay here forever. And honestly, I've been trying to move now for a good couple years. So I know I want to move because I've been trying to relocate and trying to find positions at other places. But now I have the opportunity to, whether or not you're a full-time reseller or maybe you have a job or you can permanently work from home, where it's like, I can actually move. And I don't need a job to help me to move. I don't need anybody else to help me to move. I can do this on my own. So I think about how can reselling get me to that goal. And if you haven't watched the video and you're like, what are you going to do? I will go ahead and tell you, I will spoil it for you. I went back to work. I had to go back to work. Now the job is a full-time work at home, permanent home position. So I can work anywhere as long as they're already established. They've already got employees in that area. So I know that they have employees in a particular state that I want to go and work at. And so I said, all right, what about this job? And also reselling is going to help me to get to my goal, which is to move. Number one, it'll be much easier to qualify for a mortgage with a job. That's just the way it is. It'll be much easier qualified. But then also, it'll be much easier to pay down the debt to get a better mortgage interest rate if I get the debt paid down, which is what the reselling business is going to do. So both of them are getting to me a goal, a real goal, a goal that I am excited about, not just a numbers, not just how much revenue I'm making, how much items am I selling, how much, it's like, this is the goal. And so the first thing I'm doing is I'm starting to make a plan. So I called my dad this weekend and I'm thinking about moving to Charlotte, North Carolina. I've been debating a lot and forth between North Carolina, South Carolina, and Florida. And it's Father's Day weekend, so I'll go home and visit my dad. And I said, hey, Dad, you want to go to Charlotte? People still aren't vaccinated. So, okay, well, I'm going to come home, fix your Father's Day dinner, and I'm going to go to Charlotte, North Carolina. Charlotte, South Carolina, and see what it's like. I've actually never been, but I've been to Savannah. I figure it's very similar, and I'm just starting to get excited about it. I'm looking at homes. I'm looking at goals, like, I want to list something every single day, because now when the listing is not just I'm listing every day so I can make sales, and listing every day so I can use the money that I have in order to pay down some debt so I can get a better rate on my mortgage. And when I go to work every morning, it's not, I gotta go to work. I don't want to go to work. It's, I'm going to work so when it's time for me to move, I can qualify for a mortgage, because I'll be more likely to qualify for a mortgage with a career, with a job, versus just having a reselling business, which will make it much, much harder. So that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing to motivate myself. And I've been doing things. I'm watching YouTube videos about Charlotte. When I say I'm going, not Charlotte, Charleston. So I've been watching YouTube videos about Charleston, South Carolina. I got a couple neighborhoods I'm going to look at. I even said, all right, this weekend it's just a getaway. Just drive. I told you I hate driving. But I'm going to go see what it's like. Maybe if I like it, then my birthday weekend, July, I'm going to go up there, get somebody to come watch my cats, and really enjoy myself, go and check it out, see what it's like. And then, so that keeps me trucking. Like, okay, well, I don't want to pay for that. I want to pay for that in cash, all right? So I want to use my reselling business to pay for that trip to help me to move. And then the thought is, well, I probably want another new construction home, all right? So that's going to be 6 months. And I'm okay with saying, like, okay, I'm not going to move till probably 2022. All right, so maybe September I might start actually going around and looking to seeing what kind of new housing constructions are around. Even when I'm going this weekend, I'll see what's around. It's important to have more than one goal, right? The other goal is to do more investing. I had to take a step back a little bit as I lost my job, and I was like, I need to pull back a little bit, so I can't be putting things in stocks and IRAs. So now it's like, I'm doing more investing. And do I still want to work at this job? I don't know. I don't know what the job's going to give to me. I have no clue. I don't know if it's going to be the best thing since sliced bread. I don't know if it's going to be, a new career, a new transition. I don't know. I remain open and I remain hopeful. But that might mean that I may not be able to quit until 2023, because if I moved in 2022, we all know how expensive moving is. I'm going to need a job to pull up, and then as I move, I'm going to have to shut down my reselling business for a while as I move, and I honestly don't want to resell at the same time trying to unpack and decorate and all this kind of stuff and get acclimated. But it doesn't mean I have to stay. It doesn't mean that this is it. And I know for us, and sometimes even for myself, it's like you're like, this is it. If I don't do it now, it'll never happen. It may happen, and it may happen next month. It may happen 6 months from now. It may happen a year from now. I may decide to stay at this job. I may decide to go do something different. I don't know what the future holds, but sometimes we have to get out of our little funk in order to make it work. And that's just how I'm doing things to help motivate myself. Thinking about something has nothing to do with reselling, nothing to do with the job, nothing to do with that decision, which is I want to move. So I'm looking at houses, and now it gets me excited. See, like I can get excited. Think about moving to Charleston, South Carolina, girl. Yeah, moving to Charleston. Yeah. But then I think the worst thing is if I go there, I'm like, oh my God, I hate it here. It sucks. But if I do, someplace else. There's North Carolina, there's Florida, there's Texas, there's 50 states in the United States of America. A lot of places for me to go. There we go. That's the end of my 7-part series. I hope you enjoyed it, and leave me some feedback whether or not you had to make these hard choices. What helps you to motivate yourself? Leave in the comments. Like this video if you like it. Subscribe. And let me know if you decide it's like me. If you're able to keep on, share. And if you do see people who are asking these questions and you're in groups, share with them a little bit more. If you are a full-time reseller, say, you know what, there's a lot more to this than just listing Barbie dolls and shipping Barbie dolls every day. There's a lot more to this, and I really encourage you all. Whether or not you make that decision will be yours, and I believe that if you really think about things and you consider everything, that you'll make the best decision for you. May not be the easiest one, but it'll be the best decision for you with the information and the time that you have. I'm excited. I got this all in one day. Hot dog. All right. Thanks. See you next time. Bye.